Hi, grade 8s. Today what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to actually write some equations, actually build the actual equations from a scenario that's given. This is a tough skill. I know as I taught like grade 10 and grade 9 math, you continually do this, and I find that it's one of those skills that just takes a lot of practice to learn and develop. So this is kind of our starting point in it. So I'm going to give you a question here in a scenario, and I'm hoping that this will help you develop a few strategies for actually tackling these questions when we're asked to build it. So let's first thing we'll do is we'll just read the question. As we go through, I'm going to get my blue pen out. We're just going to highlight key points. So grade 8 students are organizing the grade 9 graduation. So they go and hire a great caterer. So Teresa's Catering will charge $15 per person to cater the meal, and the hall rental will cost $300. And we're asked to build an equation to determine the cost of the event. So we need some variables because we don't know a couple different things. So I'm going to use what they call let statements. So let statements are just kind of a statement that tells us what our variables mean. So the first thing is our event, we're asked to determine the cost. So I'm going to use a variable like C. So let C be the cost of the grad event. Okay, so I'm just telling people what these variables are. So I've got C here, and we're telling it it's the cost. Well, what's determining the cost? And, well, our cost is going to be determined by how many people come. So let's use let P be the number of people at this event. I could have used N for number of people. Sometimes people just like using X's and Y's. Really, in the end, you can use any variable. There's not a right answer, but you should tell people what this represents. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to try and figure out an equation that would actually calculate for us the right cost of this event. So we really would like to have C equals, the cost is equal to something. Well, how do we go about doing this? Well, there's a couple ways you can go about doing this. A key idea here is that we're going to charge $15 per person for food. So the meal is going to cost $15 per person. And the second big thing is the rental cost will cost us $300. So I'm going to just put C here, and I'm going to put P here. I'm just making a little table of values like you did before. Hey, like let's say for example, no people show up. So the number of people are 0. How much is this going to cost? Well, the caterer doesn't look like they charge anything because there's $15 per person, but there's no one here. So you can see the cost would just be the cost of the rental, so which would be $300. Let's think about this again. Let's say there's one person here. Well, the caterer's charging $15 per person, so that'd be $15. Plus the rental, hall rental, will still be $300. So $15 for food, $300 for the rental. We're gonna get $315. Let's say 2 people show up. And you can see, oh, well, 2 people, that will be 2 times 15. That means we got $30 for food and a $300 rental. So it's going to be $330. Well, let's skip down a little bit. Let's say 10 people show up. How are we going to do that? Well, it's cost $15 per person. We're going to have to multiply it by 10 people, which would be $150. The hall cost is $300. So 150 plus 300 gives us 450. And if you kind of play around with this a little bit, I'm hoping you get a feel for what we're doing. So in this case, what did I do first? Well, I always calculated how much the food cost. And then I added it to how much the haul cost. So let's think about that for a second. Now, how did I calculate the food? Well, if there was 3 people, I took 3 times 15. But I don't know how many people there is. So it's just going to be $15, because that's how much it was per person, multiplied by how many people there was. But we're going to call people just P. So 15P is 15 times the number of people. Now we're going to add that. We're going to add that to the haul cost. Well, the haul cost in this case is $300, but that doesn't matter how many people come. They're charging us $300 whether we have 0 people, 100 people, 1,000 people. I'm not sure if the haul would legally allow you to have 1,000. But you can see we're just adding 300 every single time. So you can see we have now built an equation that describes how much it would cost to run the graduation event. So let's say, for example, 100 people come to this event. We have a big grad party. How much is it going to cost? Well, the cost is equal to 15 times the number of people, which in this case we're thinking it's 100 plus 300. Order of operations says I do my multiplying first, so 15 times 100 gives me 1,500. Add 300 to it. And you can see this is going to cost me $1,800 to run the event. So you can see this equation can be really helpful for us to help determine how much things are going to cost. Well, I hope this kind of gets you going with how to build equations. I encourage you, ask for help. You're going to get some that are going to stump you, and we're going to try our best to help you. And the more of these you do, the more comfortable you'll get, and the better you'll be. Have a good one.